when you go to the ice cream store to buy that perfect ice cream cake for that special situation? You see the preset menu of cakes. Usually there's chocolate ice cream with vanilla cake or vanilla ice cream with chocolate cake. But you rarely ever see mango ice cream with strawberry cake or coconut ice cream with pistachio cake. Really, how unique are these cakes when they're just the standard go-to flavors? I personally prefer creating my own cakes than choosing a list of cake that the ice cream shop limits me to. And today, when I look at my peers and many of the recent grads across the nation, I wonder how many of them let society limit what they do in their professional careers. How many of them are actually pursuing the career of their dreams, the perfect career, the perfect cake for them, and how many of them are actually just pursuing the careers that society tells them are prestigious, or careers that people in front of them did and were successful, so they're pursuing those careers because they think those are the careers that line the path to success. Today, I want to tell you about two of my most transformational experiences, which showed me that I indeed did have the power to create the perfect career for me and then go find it. It was during my junior year when I went abroad to Mexico and when I wanted to do international development work that January. And so I was looking for this perfect opportunity, and when I think back on it, it was very similar to my cake buying experiences. Instead of going to the cake shop and looking at the preset menu of cakes, I went to the public service center and looked at the list of opportunities that were there where I could go and work with current organizations that were working abroad in the field. But none of those opportunities were perfect for me. None of those seemed like the perfect cake. And so I took a step back and thought, what would be the perfect ingredients, the perfect aspects of what my perfect trip would be that January? And so I decided I first wanted to make sure that I went abroad and lived in a community and understood how these people lived and truly what their problems were. And second, I also wanted to work together with them to come up with potential projects and solutions to their problems. And I got lucky. A secret menu came out. A few weeks later, the Global Poverty Initiative and the Public Service Center decided to work together to create fellowships where they would send students abroad to do this very thing, investigate communities, and come up with potential project ideas. And so I applied for these opportunities, and I tasted the cake, and it couldn't have tasted better. The taste was so good that I did it 2 more times by leading 2 more trips down to rural Mexico. Over the course of those 3 trips, we tackled malnutrition in these communities. The kids in the communities didn't have access to vegetables during the winter because their parents couldn't afford to buy them and the weather conditions were too extreme to grow the vegetables. So we raised $20K in the US and built greenhouses across 3 communities to tackle this problem. We also worked with the State Department of Health and the local doctors because we had seen many cases of lung cancer and a huge prevalence of respiratory illnesses in these communities because they were all cooking with wood in their kitchens. And when you cook with wood, the carbon output is extremely high. So we worked with the State Department of Health to get resources to build ecological stoves for all of the people who requested them in these communities, and these ecological stoves cut the carbon output by 98%. And finally, we established a long-term relationship with Peace Corps volunteers so that Peace Corps volunteers and the Global Poverty Initiative would work together for future projects when MIT students went down, so that the projects would be efficient, effective, and continued when the students were back in school. So when I came back to MIT, I thought about how this experience was amazing and very fulfilling to me. But I sort of thought for a second that I could only create the perfect experience for me in these extracurricular settings, these sort of nonprofit social entrepreneurship settings. But it was my next experience with Imaginate which actually showed me that I could indeed create these perfect experiences and apply this philosophy to a larger part of my life. So Imaginate was an idea a friend and I had to tackle the gap between what Mexican university students were learning in college and what Mexican companies were looking for Mexican university students to have learned when they started their jobs. A recent McKinsey study shows that Mexican HR managers say that of graduated students, only 25% are qualified for the work that they're hiring people for, when their demand is for all 100%. So what did we do? We decided to create the perfect cake again, and we looked at what the ingredients would be this time. We wanted to replicate the MIT D-Lab model, which is essentially creating a product design course where students can learn soft skills and gain hands-on experience while working on social impact problems. And we also wanted to create a scalable model because we realized that this was a problem across Mexico and in other regions as well. So we created the perfect cake. We led a pilot program and one of the largest institutions in Mexico. We brought returned Peace Corps volunteers, MIT alums, current MIT students, retired Mexican university professors to teach in this course. And we ended up being very surprised by the results of this pilot. The director of this technical institution, which is arguably larger than even the University of California system, decided that she wanted to incorporate it into the university curriculum across all their campuses. We were funded to run a larger version of this program over the summer, and we ended up incorporating Imaginate into a for-profit business, of which now I'm the president and the board chairman. So then I took a step back. I had seen that Imaginate was a for-profit entity. And so I realized that this idea of creating the perfect opportunity for yourself could indeed be applied to real-world problems. At the time, I had been working in strategy consulting, and I decided that I wanted to move on to my next opportunity. And I figured, why not apply this philosophy to the next job I'm looking for? And so once again, I decided to list out what would be the perfect ingredients for me. The perfect ingredients would be working in a for-profit company that helps the underprivileged, working in a role that had direct customer interaction, as well as higher-level strategy business experience, working on a small team with less than 10 people, but also having mentors who had experience before and who were second-time entrepreneurs, and working at a high-growth startup where I was playing a key role in this growth. And so I started looking and looking for this opportunity. I ended up going to conferences. I would travel 1.5 hours each way, one way, talking to startups to see if this opportunity existed. And I heard over and over again that I was looking for a unicorn, that there was no way I would be able to find a healthcare startup that was early stage, that was looking to help the underprivileged, that could use my skills, and that right now I should go back and work at a larger firm, gain more experience, perhaps product experience, before I tried to help a startup. As these people kept telling me that I was looking for a unicorn, the small voice in the back of my head kept getting louder, and it kept saying, why didn't you just stay in strategy consulting? That's a job where people before you have stayed there and then gone on to lead very successful careers, and it's a job that's prestigious. But then I remembered how fulfilled, excited, and happy I was when I did my perfect fit experiences in Mexico and through Imaginate. And so I continued looking. And months later, I ended up coming across the perfect opportunity. I now head business development at GoodRx, a startup which helps the uninsured and the underinsured find cheaper drug prices so that they no longer have to choose between whether or not they should buy food or buy their medicine that month. As the head of business development, I get to directly interact with customers while also planning higher-level strategical opportunities for our company. I'm getting the mentorship that I wanted because 2 of our founders were one of the first 10 employees at both Yahoo and Facebook. And I've played an integral role in our fast growth. Since November, we've grown double, and now we have over 900,000 monthly visitors. So what is it that I want you guys to take away from this talk today? It's that you need to dream big. Society convinces us to put our dreams aside when we go and look for the perfect careers. They tell us it's okay to dream about startups, nonprofits, extracurriculars, and on-the-side stuff. But when we are looking for jobs, society expects us to passively look through lists. Lists of companies that come to our career fair, lists of companies that are recruiting on campus. And those cakes, those lists of companies, they look like perfect cakes. And it's hard for us to look aside from them because these cakes look perfect and so many people before them took these perfect opportunities and became successful. But the thing we forget is no matter how perfect these cakes look, they may not be the perfect fit for our taste buds. So today, I'm asking all of you to take a minute later today and think about what your perfect dream would be. Put aside the societal blinders of what's prestigious or what people before you have done and truly dream. Because only when you dream about your perfect opportunity will you be able to truly unlock your potential. Now, I'm not saying that your perfect opportunity might not be on these lists. But if you don't take a step back and try to think without looking at these lists, you'll never know if you just settled or if you truly found the perfect opportunity for you. So the next time you go into the ice cream store and you're trying to order the perfect cake for your special occasion, will you order one of the pre-made cakes? Will you create your own special creation? Or will you buy your own ingredients and make the perfect cake for you? Will you be the chef of your life?